Good morning. So I intended to do a quick video today with my experience and tips for riding in cold weather. I live in Michigan, so it gets colder, somewhat colder in the winter here. So I intended to go for a ride today and some of the heated gear and do a quick video on it and you know, how to be comfortable when it's a little colder outside. But as you can see, that's not going to happen today. My driveway out of here is kind of full of ice, and so is the road out of my neighborhood. So it's not going to be any riding today, so we will do a in the garage review and tips on heated gear instead. Roll the intro. So, to the disappointing fact that we could not ride outside today. Like I mentioned, there's not a lot of snow, but there's enough of ice on my driveway and on the road out to the street. That makes it impossible for me to get out there safely. I did look at riding over the lawn there, but still have to get out of the driveway. Don't feel for getting the bike over me and try to pick it up on a sheet of ice. So, what I wanted to talk about riding in cold weather. I grew up in Sweden, and for a couple of years I only had motorcycles. And at the time I was working at the military base, and even when there was snowing outside, I rode my bike. I didn't have a choice. Back then I think I had a Suzuki GSX 1100, and sometimes I came out, there was 6-7 inches of snow on the bike. You brush it off and you ride up to the regiment. Certainly wouldn't do it today, but hey, when you're young, that worked. But I still like to ride during the winter, as long as it's snow and ice free. I don't put studded tires on my bikes anymore, which will not be illegal technically in Michigan on the road anyway. I'm too comfortable for that. I like my truck if it's snow and icy. But if it's dry on the road, love to go for a ride. My plan was to go for a ride today and talk about really the different type of gears you can utilize for riding in the cold. So let's start with some simple stuff like when it's not too cold. And when I say it's not too cold, it's around 30 Fahrenheit, 32, which is 0 degrees Celsius, freezing temperature for water. Still not too bad to ride in that weather. Normally, just for that, riding around locally for a few hours, I put the Hippo hands on. They're not pretty, but they're really good. So Hippo hand blocks the wind, and with the heated grips, I can actually ride it with fairly thin gloves on. If it's not too cold, I ride with just motocross gloves to get the good feeling for the grips and controls. And adding to that, of course, I put on a heated vest. I had a couple of different models. This is the one from BMW. It's kind of a neoprene style one. I did get a simple thermostat as well. I think it has 4 positions off, and 1, 2, and 3, of course. It does a really good job. I can either connect it to the behind the dashboard up here, or I put a connection down here that goes direct to the battery of the bike. I can also charge the battery, or I can get direct power. The vest is fine. It's less than 5 amps, so you can plug it into the CAN bus system. It doesn't shut down the system. It doesn't draw enough power. So normally I would put the vest on. Outside the vest I would have a puffy jacket like this one. I'm not sure which one is this. This is made by somebody. Oh, it's made by Climb. Anyway, a puffy jacket is really, really good outside of the vest. And you have the heat, you have the puffy jacket. And outside of that, I would just wear normally a Climb. I like Climb gear. Probably the Badlands pants and jacket, windproof, rainproof, sturdy boots, either motocross boots or Gore-Tex boots, full face helmet, of course, and our motocross gloves. Works great on the highway for a few hours. Off-road, actually, if you do some aggressive gravel road riding or trail riding, it gets too hot. So that's one version. It's an easy one, easy on and off. I also lived in Duluth, Minnesota for a few years, and I was riding a Harley back then. It gets cold early in Duluth, and it stays cold for a long time. So to be able to ride up there, I did get some gear from, I think it's made by Gerbing, but the pants and jacket says Harley Davidson on it. So I did get full pants, and obviously connected to the jacket. I get a full jacket, full sleeves, and I believe it says Harley Davidson on it, but I also believe it's made by Gerbing at the time. And then I have socks that connects to the bottom of the pants with the connections. And I got gloves, electric gloves that connects to the jacket. So having all this, then you have your feet, you have your legs, you have your jacket, you have your gloves all heated up. And I have a wireless thermostat for that. So one part of the thermostat controls the jacket only. The other part controls the gloves, the pants, and the socks. I did not have any hippo hands back then, but I had heated grips on the Harley. It kept me warm for hours. I rode, I don't know, 25 degrees from Duluth, Minnesota to Chicago and back. There was no snow, of course. I was perfectly warm. I did wear probably an Aero-Stitch suit over this at that time. Looks like a snowmobile suit. Not very pretty, but and it also took a long time to put this stuff on and take it off. And God forbid if you need to stop for a restroom break. It was a lot of work. But after you got it on and you connected it to the bike, you're good to go. And this will not be able to be connected to the outlet that comes originally on the BMWs. They kick out at 5 amp hours. And this is probably, I will say it might be close to 15. So I wired it direct to the battery, either with a connection like this that I think is from Gerbing, or just a DIN connected direct to the battery. But I believe that I started with the 10 amp fuse and I've blown that a few times. So I think 15 is what I ended up with. Anyway, the GS Adventure does a decent job blocking the wind compared to a smaller bike like the small GS, for example. You got a bigger tank, you got the cylinder heads blocking and creating some heat for your feet and your knees, and it obviously comes up in the cockpit as well. This one at the moment have the larger touring windshield, I think it's called. I'm probably going to replace that for a lower, but it gets really good wind protection, especially when you set it higher up with the electric controller. And you also have these little ears on the side here, so it's a pretty good wind protection. If the snow melts away here so I can get out next week, I like to get some riding videos as well, wearing just the vest and the hippo hands, and hopefully it gets cold enough so we can get some on-road testing as well. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.